Hi, my name is Destiny Brown, and I'm a lead educator at Wide Angle Youth Media. And I'm so excited today to present a lesson, Media and Me, with some of my students and collaborators from Wide Angle. For those who aren't familiar with Wide Angle, through media arts education, Wide Angle Youth Media cultivates and amplifies the voices of Baltimore youth to engage audiences across generational, cultural, and social divides. Our programs inspire creativity and instill confidence in young people, empowering them with skills to navigate school, career, and life. Since 2000, Wide Angle Youth Media has worked with over 6,180 youth from across Baltimore City who have produced hundreds of digital media projects about their lives and communities. Today, drawing from Wide Angle's organizational values, Media and Me is a youth centered, youth driven, and youth oriented lesson on the relevance and importance of media literacy today. Students will guide us through dissecting biases from advertisements and media we consume every day and how we can use media literacy to be intentional about the way we present ourselves to the world. Students Ellie McGinley, Janeya Wilkerson, Zalthea Esguerra, Janae Young, and Leah Mann will compare examples of past and present ads whose captions hold similar underlying examples of bias. This will demonstrate the power of separating the text from the image to understand implicit meaning. The lesson will then end with students presenting their This Is Me projects with captions that inform who they are and what the picture represents, keeping in mind key ideas of media literacy. Then, you, the audience, will have the opportunity to do the exact same thing. Social justice is at the core of this lesson because students are encouraged to put their concepts of media literacy into practices in their daily life, remaining conscious of how they want the world to perceive them. The majority of Wide Angle Youth Media students come from communities that are often underrepresented or misrepresented in mainstream media. So we encourage students to change the narrative and amplify their own voice, empowering them to begin making their stories the way they want to see themselves about their communities.
First, we'd like to know who is in this room. We'll go around and introduce ourselves, but as we do so, please write in the chat who you are, where you're from, and what organization you represent. I am Zalthea Esguerra. I am originally from Philippines, but I grew up here in Baltimore, Maryland, and I represent the Wide Angle Youth Media, and I'll pass it off to Janae.
Thanks, C.
My name is Janae Young. I'm 18 years old. I'm a rising freshman at the University of Maryland. I also grew up here in Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm going to pass it off to Ellie.
Hi, I'm Ellie McGinley. I'm 15 years old, an incoming sophomore at the Baltimore School for the Arts, and I was also born and raised in Baltimore City. So I will pass it off to, Leah.
Hi, my name is Leah Mann. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm 14 years old, a rising sophomore at Baltimore City College, and I represent Wide Angle. I'll pass it off to Jen.
Good morning / afternoon, everybody. My name is Janeya Wilkerson. I am a rising junior at Baltimore City College High School. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Let's start with some key terms so we are all on the same page with some of the language we'll be using today. The first key term is bias, which is prejudice in favor of or against one thing, person, or group compared with another, usually in a way considered to be unfair. Next is media literacy, which is the ability to access, analyze, evaluate, and create media in a variety of forms. Finally, graphic design, which is a craft where professionals create visual content to communicate messages.
The first ad couplet that we'll look at is an ad from 1970 for the Warner's Concentrate Girdle. Using the image of a pear tied with the caption, "This is no shape for a girl." We associate the shape of a pear with the shape that is unbecoming of a woman. We see this message carried throughout history to 2014, where we see images of a skinny woman and the caption, "The Perfect Body," from Victoria's Secret. The combination of images and captions suggests that the pictures alone wouldn't. We are being trained to believe that this is how a woman should look, when in actuality, they don't look like this.
Okay, next we'll look at an ad from 1967. The ad on the left is a real ad from Hoover Vacuums. The caption reads, "Christmas morning, she'll be happier with a Hoover," suggesting that what every woman wants for Christmas is a vacuum. While this is somewhat expected of the 60s, the sexism carries on over to 2011 when Samsung's Mother's Day ad emphasized that a washing machine and a free vacuum cleaner is the best gift for any hardworking mom. Women are not just maids, and ads like these perpetuate that idea. While the pictures alone don't suggest this, when we add captions, we see the bias seep in.
This next example is a racist ad from the 19th century. From 1899, we see an ad for Pear soap that the caption reads, "The first step towards lightening the white man's burden is through teaching the virtues of cleanliness." Pear soap is a potent factor in brightening the dark corners of the earth as civilization advances, while amongst the culture of all nations, it holds the highest place. It is the ideal toilet soap. This ad suggests that the virtues of cleanliness are only for white men. This incredibly racist ad was the norm in 1899, but we wouldn't expect messages like this in 2017. But there it is. In 2017, Nivea came out with this ad that the image alone is fine, but when you add the caption, "white is purity," the woman in the photo appears white herself. So coupling the text and image creates the bias and perpetuates negative stereotypes.
So we start with these examples because what can we learn from this? So first, we learned that we need to start using graphic design to tell our own stories because many times mainstream media gets it wrong. It's important to always question ads in media using media literacy. We encourage our students to dissect images, see what they're trying to tell us, that if we're just looking at it, we just take those messages in and see them as truth because we see them in the mainstream media. We see them from Nivea, we see them from Victoria's Secret, these big companies that we expect, yeah, whatever they're saying must be factual. And we ask our students to rewrite the narrative, not just understanding that there's a problem, but making a solution, advocating for themselves and others. So what I'd love to do now is have some students show their examples of what they created after this lesson. Students applied the critical concepts of media literacy to their own self-image and how they wish to portray themselves to the world. Beginning with Leah.
Hi, so this is me. I chose red and pink because, or at least for my background, because I really like those colors and I feel like they represent me very well. And then I chose a picture of me smiling and a peace sign because I'm usually a very happy and bubbly person. And then in the right corner, it says traveler, student, and ambassador, all things that I've been doing pretty much my entire life. I travel all the time, and well, of course, I'm a student, and I've been an ambassador for many of things. So yeah, that's how I set up my This Is Me.
Okay, this is me. So in the top left corner, you can see that I put achiever and believing because that's what I am. I achieve things all the time. I believe that I can do it. That's the key to achieving what you want to do in life, you know? And I'm also a student athlete. I am the co-captain of my high school cheer team this year. I love the color black. That sounds so dark, but I love the color black. And the blue and the purple and the white in the boxes that shade everything together is just chef's kiss. And that's just me, you know?
This is me project. I used the color blue to show loyalty and calmness. I added the sky because when you see the sky, it's like as if you're free. You know, you feel free. And I put life goes on because you can't just sit around and like be stuck to one problem and be in that problem for the longest. You know, you gotta move on. Stuff like that.
So for my This Is Me, I took somewhat of a different approach with my caption. I included a quote from my favorite movie, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, because it really resonates with me and I think it's just inspiring. And then for the graphic design element of the background, my favorite colors, as you can probably tell from my hair in that picture, it's faded now, but split dye pink and purple. So I found a somewhat matching picture of a beautiful sky that calms me and included that as the backdrop to my picture, and then added some gold decals, and those are all my favorite colors, and I think it goes together nicely to represent me.
Okay, so here's my This Is Me project. I chose a more simplistic approach. I really enjoy black and white photography, and I thought it was perfect for this project because when photos in black and white, it really like emphasizes the subject matter, and you know, the project is about me, so I thought that was a strong choice. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much for sharing. Hopefully those examples inspire you because now it's your turn. I just want to share, we have an audience. We have some people from Baltimore, someone from North Africa, Bolivia, Idaho, Belgium, Georgia, Missouri, Ukraine, Wisconsin. The list could go on. You all are from so many different places, so we really want to get to know you through these projects. So we're going to guide you through a little bit on how you can create your This Is Me project and hopefully get to share some out before the end of the session.
What you will need is a digital selfie saved to your computer. Take the Adobe Creative test at mycreativetype.com. Make free Canva account at canva.com.
Okay, so everyone can go to the mycreativetype.com and take the quiz. And I just took it actually. I got the Dreamer. So put in the comments in the chat what you guys got when you finish taking the quiz.
Yep, so we'll give you some time to do this. It's an interactive quiz from Adobe that will hopefully give you some inspiration as far as who you are.
And before you guys begin creating, we want to show a quick video that will give you some tips about layout and composition for your creation.
And just to go back, I think a little bit. So this is canva.com. You'll be able to create a free account. At White Angle, we use design tools that are accessible so that whatever we learn in the classroom is able to be used outside of the classroom, so that project that they're creating in graphic design class can allow them, you can use those same tools to create their presentation for English class or to help develop their business cards or their website. So it'll be canva.com that we'll be going on to. So you can, as we watch the video, feel free to take time to get onto Canva, get those selfies, all that stuff. Yeah, so we're gonna watch a quick video about layout and composition that will help us kind of be on the same page for these projects.
Layout and composition. In a way, they're the foundation of design. They give your work structure and make it easier to navigate, from the margins on the sides to the content in between. Of course, it's not just about working with text. Composition matters in other mediums too, like graphic design, web design, and much more. Without a well-composed layout, your work would basically fall apart. The key to mastering layout and composition is to think like a designer. Luckily, it's easier than it sounds. There are 5 basic principles that can help you transform your work and sharpen your eye for design. Let's start at the top and work our way down. Proximity is all about using visual space to show relationships in your content. In practice, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is make sure related items are grouped together. For example, blocks of text or elements in a graphic. Groups that are not related to each other should be separated to visually emphasize their lack of a relationship. All in all, this makes your work easier to understand at a glance, whether it's purely text or something more visual. White space is an important part of every composition. Now, this doesn't mean literal white space. It just means negative space, like the spaces between your content, between lines, and even the outer margins. There's no one way to use whitespace correctly, but it's good to understand its purpose. Whitespace helps you define and separate different sections. It gives your content room to breathe. If your work ever starts to feel cluttered or uncomfortable, a little whitespace might be just what the doctor ordered. Alignment is something you deal with all the time, even if you don't realize it. Whenever you type an email or create a document, the text is aligned automatically. When aligning objects by yourself, for instance, images or separate text boxes, getting it right can be tricky. The most important thing is to be consistent. Let's take a look at what that means. It might help to imagine your content arranged inside of a grid. Notice how there's an invisible line centering each image to the text? Each grouping is also evenly spaced and aligned, with equal-sized margins. It's that attention to detail that makes the composition easier to navigate. Without consistent alignment, your work could start to feel disorganized. Contrast simply means that one item is different from another. In layout and composition, contrast can help you do many things. For example, catch the reader's eye, create emphasis, or call attention to something important. There are lots of strategies for creating contrast. You can use color, adjust the size, shape, or visual weight of an object, or use contrasting styles of text. Contrast is also closely tied to hierarchy, a visual technique that can help the viewer navigate your work. In other words, it shows them where to begin and where to go next using different levels of emphasis. Establishing hierarchy is simple. Just decide which elements you want the reader to notice first, then make them stand out. High-level or important items are usually larger, bolder, or more eye-catching in some way. Repetition is a reminder that every project should have a consistent look and feel. That means finding ways to reinforce your design by repeating or echoing certain elements. For instance, if you have a specific color palette, look for ways to carry it through. If you've chosen a special header style, use it every time. It's not just for aesthetic reasons. Being consistent can also make your work easier to read. When the viewer knows what to expect, they can relax and focus on the content. In many ways, layout and composition are the unsung heroes of design. It's easy to overlook their role, but they're part of everything you do. A nudge here, some extra white space there, and voila! With a little attention to detail, you can create beautiful, professional-looking compositions. Thanks for joining us for the...
All right, so with that being said, wait one second, I'm going to...
Basics of layout.
Let's get out of this.
And composition.
All right, so we're going to recap the rules of composition.
Okay, so just to recap, the rules of composition we covered are proximity, which is how close objects are together to show their relationship, white space, to keep our graphics clean and purposeful when we add elements, alignment, to make everything seem cohesive, contrast, to use graphic design to make our pieces pop and play off of each other, and repetition to create a consistent design for our work.
Yes, and that was definitely a quick overview of everything that there is about graphic design, but just wanted to give us all the same language. Ellie will now be describing what you will have, the creation of your This Is Me project. We just wanted to add that we will give you 10 minutes to take your creative type test, to make your Canva account, to get your selfie, and then you will have an additional 10 minutes, which is what Ellie will be talking about, to actually create your piece.
Now it's time to create. You will have 10 minutes to create your This Is Me design. Import your image into a Canva template or build your own. Use one or more of the rules of composition to aid you in telling the story of who you are, inspired by your creative type. When you are done, you can upload your creation to the Google Drive folder listed in the chat. Have fun!
All right, and if we could get that into the chat, thank you, Z. So then our moderators can pass that over to the C event chat for our attendees. So right now it is 12:50. You will have until 1:10. I'm going to play some music. At 1:10, I'm going to check the folder. Hopefully we get some submissions that we can share out, and then we'll get to some audience questions. All right, thank you so much for hanging in so far. We're going to start with presenting some things that you all shared. I see some people have uploaded to the Google Drive. If you haven't yet, it's okay. We're going to share out the ones that we have received, and then we'll circle back. We'll have some question time, and then we'll circle back to see if we have any new submissions. If you know that you uploaded, you can already get started in writing your kind of what you were going for in the chat, and we'll have one of our moderators read that out for you. But I'm going to go ahead and share screen. Give me 1 second. Thank you so much for participating. These look, I was peeking in throughout the whole thing, and it looks awesome. Let me get to this drive. All right, here we go. This is in the submissions. All right, so our first one is from David. His is Enjoy Life. We have some graphic design elements, making it look like it's taped on there. Let's see, do we have anything from, this is something that my students would love. Oh, I'm so glad that this is something your students would love. Yes, we want to make media literacy accessible, right? Yeah, Janae says, thanks for sharing, David. Is there anything in the chat from David about his get feedback in real time? Got you. All right, well, we'll circle back. And for anyone else who did submit, we have like about 4. If you could just start writing in the chat, because there is a short delay. I'll go ahead to the next one. So this is from David. This is Erica Damasco, imaginative, curious teacher mom. Love this. Oh, it's so bright. It reminds me of summertime. And if any of the students have any comments, feel free to unmute. They said, I love it. Thanks for sharing, Erica. This is so great. I can't believe you all did this in 10 minutes. Like, it's so cohesive. And this one is a video, actually, from Sean Turner. I don't think there's sound. I am blessed with a burden. Got the Latin in there. Educator. Oh, I love this with the students in the back. What a great design. Thank you so much, Sean. This is really great. That's an awesome thing to be able to keep and show your students. Then we have one from Hans, Peru. It says, I'm not sure if you're in Peru or this picture was just taken in Peru, but from Hans, our planet is beautiful. We have some design elements in the bottom that kind of look like the clouds, okay? Then we added these, looks like the clouds were added on top. That's pretty cool. It's like you're adding elements to make it look like it's part of the picture. That's awesome. Really cool. Our planet is beautiful. I've chosen different colors because life is full of different colors representing various aspects of life. Thus, enjoy it. Oh, that was David's comment. Got you. Yeah, you have all the colors that here, various aspects of life, and then got you at the bottom. I love that. All right, then we have Dreamer. I'm not sure who this is from, but I'm going to assume that your creative type was Dreamer. Also, thank you all for commenting in the chat what type of person you are, what creative type you got. I saw we had visionaries, innovators, dreamers, of course. I am a visionary, I believe. So really great to know who we have in the virtual room. So we have some blues here. We have the dreamer kind of matching the blue in the background. We have space. I love it. Nice colors, as Ellie said. Yeah, great. Sumi, the visionary. Okay, Sumi, I see you. Creative, intuitive, imaginative, Aries, the visionary. I love the font. This is the first thing. The first time I had to go to something. Oh wait, I'm gonna go back to Maria's for her comment, but this is really cool. I love the like kind of, I guess like that funky border that you could put framing for the picture. It kind of goes with your glasses. It's like you use graphic elements to tie into what was going on in your picture to really make it all go in together. I know Ellie, and she said you made that in 10 minutes, is what Ellie said. I know Ellie likes these colors. Pink and purple is her thing. Nice job, Sumi. And this Maria had said, this is the first time I used Canva, had discovered things, so it kept it simple. I chose a picture looking up representing the dreamer type I am. Yes, I love it. And yes, you can start small. I mean, this is your first introduction to Canva. I'm so glad I was able to introduce you to it, and have fun because they have so many amazing templates for honestly everything you want to do. Canva is amazing, so fun and easy to use. Yes, I'm glad you felt that way. Renee Childs, okay. She has her bubble gum. I love this. I like the zany background kind of. It really gives me a feeling of who this person is. Renee, who Renee is. It's really colorful. As it shows, Google Drive was challenging. This is from Julie. Okay, we haven't gotten to Julie's yet. Yeah, this is really fun. Yeah, Janeya says quirky and cute. I love it, yes. A lot going on, but I think it shows a lot of the personality, and it ties to the bubble gum. I love like the two pictures, so we're able to track the journey of the bubble gum. Julie, okay, so Julie said, Google Drive was challenging for me. My black and white selfie is one of my favorite photos as it shows more of me. Turquoise, one of my favorite colors. Quote is from the Innovator definition. The possibilities are endless. Julie, I love the use of different fonts to kind of bold things and align, kept it clean and simple, put the black and white. This kind of reminds me almost of Janae's, where we had like the colorful background and then put the black and white in the middle. Yeah, really nice. I love that you were just able to take that quote in. The possibilities are endless. It says so much. Then we have Julie Goldberg, okay, with all the different titles. So we have hers at the top. She used a different font for her name, and then a different color, kept all the same font, but a different color for all the different titles. A great way of organizing, put it next to her picture, very clean. Ellie says, love the color scheme. Let's see. I don't think we got any comments from her. Yeah. Really cool. Yeah. I love the variety from, really complex or different, intricate, different things to just having like a clean, simple background. And they all say so much of who this person is. Awesome. The Adventurer. Okay, we have it on the cell phone. I see you. This is a really cool picture. I love how you put it into the phone. It said, I have a huge amount of energy that needs to be released on a regular basis. The Adventurer. Yeah, I love the iPhone effect. I have a huge amount of, yeah, that works. This works really well. You're like on the go. I love how even like the image is like just a little bit blurry. So it just shows that you're in motion, and that definitely goes with who you are. So I'm glad to see that your creative type aligns with how you see yourself. Well, okay, I think those are, I think those are all the submissions. I'm gonna just make sure. I'll refresh here. Awesome! Y'all, you blew this assignment out the water. That was so great. And I know 10 minutes is not enough time to create this, but hopefully this gave you a little taste of what you can do, and you can keep working on this and hopefully bring this back to your classrooms and create this as a cool get to know you exercise with your students. Now is time for the talkback. I would love to give an opportunity for you to ask any questions for me or for the students. And just want to reiterate, thank you so much for participating, for being a part, for allowing us to have this opportunity. I was born and raised in Baltimore. I started out as a student at White Angle. I'm currently attending NYU Tisch for theater, and I had no clue about graphic design or anything. And so for me to go from as a student to almost 5 years later now teaching, now being able to provide an opportunity for my students to teach in front of an international audience is so meaningful to me. So I really appreciate just the opportunity. And let's get to some questions.
Yeah, Destiny. Hi, it's Lynette here.
For moderators, yeah.
Yep. So we have one question from the audience that says, how much time would you give the students to do something like this in a classroom setting?
Yeah, great question. So this is something that we would normally start in the class, but then kind of give it, so I work on a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. So this would be something that we work on a Tuesday, and then the students can take as much time as they need after class to finish it up. And then we share on Thursday, just because you want to make sure you're accessible for all types of learners. So some people are really quick and can do things in 10 minutes and want to share, but some people may need 3 hours. So to make sure that everyone feels happy with their work, we would give it at least like 24 hours to just give people space to really think about it and create their work. Great question. Anything else? Do we have any other comments or?
Yeah, and I think this answers, you pretty much answered this one, which is what was the programs you used to create these lovely graphics? I mean, it was Canva, and are there others that you use other than these or might recommend?
Primarily for graphic design, Canva is the go-to. Z, did you have a suggestion? Go ahead.
Yeah, I use PixArt. Sometimes I would use PixArt for my and then sometimes Photoshop, but I'm getting a hang of Photoshop. It's like I recently, now that I got my computer back, I recently made a jersey design for somebody because they needed like visionary, so I was there to help out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna write the names in actually. So Canva is great, PixArt, and also Pixlr, and they're spelled differently, so I'm gonna write them in the chat. Pixlr is actually really great because the advanced version of Pixlr, it's free, but it replicates some of the aspects of Photoshop. So you can do a lot more advanced design work if you wanna, say, work on filters or like working on like isolating a certain amount of the image, or that really like advanced work that goes from the next step. That's a really great way to get into it, have your students have access to it without having to have the Adobe suite. Thank you so much. Oh, Janae was saying Procreate too. Yeah, Procreate is great if you have the device able to access that as well. Any other comments or questions?
I don't see any other questions at the moment, but please do submit them in the Q&A if you have them. I know there's a little bit of a delay, I think, between submission and speaking.
She likes Canva but uses Adobe Spark. Yeah, Adobe Spark is also another one. That's a great one. Yeah, and at White Angle, we kind of transferred from, so we went virtual. This was our first year or last year, my first year of teaching was our first year of going totally virtual, which allowed me to still be able to teach from New York City, but also meant that we had to kind of overcome some barriers that are really real. Technology access, of course, not having access to our equipment that students normally use or the software that we normally use. So I taught a cell phone photography class. We weren't able to get the students access to our Canon cameras, so we'll use what you got, you know, and just thinking about ways that you can kind of improvise it, figure it out. Sometimes we'll have assignments that use very basic materials, and that's the whole purpose of it, is to use exactly what you have in your home to create a background or to create a theme.
What are the ideal ages of students that what age ranges would you recommend doing an exercise like this? How young could you go? Sure.
So I've worked with teachers as young as elementary school for working with media literacy. I think that I teach high school, but I honestly feel like this would be appropriate for a college classroom. This would be appropriate for an elementary school classroom. I honestly feel like it's never too early to get students exposed to media literacy and to how important these concepts are to analyzing our world. It goes from looking at multiple sources for when you're looking at articles to looking at ads and understanding what they're trying to make you believe. So I think the earlier, the better when it comes to things like this. So that's why we kind of went for a more fun approach, but this could be crayons. This could be crayons drawing on a piece of paper and creating a captions. It's just kind of adjusting it to the level or the age group that you're catering to. But this is an assignment that can really carry over to any age group.
I got one last one, and this is just me as a promoter of media literacy education, as a parent too. I'd love to know from the students, each of you, what do you plan on doing now that you've been through this experience with wide angle lens? Wide angle lens.
I can start. So I am about to go to college. So for me, just like carrying over everything that I've learned with wide angle, just in general, regardless of my major, I'm interested in arts majors, but I also have like academic interests as well as like public policy and like law and things like that. So just really making sure that this exposed me to just being mindful of the things that I'm consuming and like seeing, and just like being aware of myself and the changes that I want to make. So these are definitely skills that I'll use, like even if it's just like for a project or, you know, like a PowerPoint, these are things that I can take with me and use. And I think that it was really helpful to expose me to things like this early, so that now moving on towards my career, you know, I'm more mindful of what I'm seeing and the things that I actually do.
I definitely agree with Janae, although I'm not going to college yet and want to pursue somewhat different endeavors in the future. I've always considered myself to be an artistic person and have learned a ton from wide angle. I did it during the past school year as well, for this summer program and job. And I love it so much. I've just enjoyed it a lot, and just creating art has always been special to me and will continue to be for the rest of my life, probably.
I'll go next. Me personally, I want to be an entrepreneur, and I think that this will help me when doing things for social media or branding in general. So I think this media literacy can really go through any walk of life, anything that you decide to do in the future. So I'm really glad that I got to learn this now, and I know how to do it well and properly. So yeah.
And then I'll go. Me, basically, I want to go into music production and singing, and also entrepreneurship as well. So I feel like this program has helped me and has allowed me to learn how to market myself better, understand myself better, express myself better for sure. There's so much that you learn from different programs, and for me in this program, those are the key things that I learned about myself.
I can go next. This activity and the things that I've learned from wide angle youth media, I never expected I could be like so creative. You know, I've been doing video edits and stuff like that, but I've never like tried doing it like just a graphic or like a poster or something like that. But I'm planning on doing this when I get into my career, because I'm thinking of doing real estate, and maybe if I could like create posters and graphics that can promote my business, and then the houses that I might be projecting on, I could use it as well.
Thank you so much for those responses. Thank you to my student co-presenters. Woo, y'all did amazing. I know you all have to go for the rest of your conference, but thank you so much to our international audience for joining. Have a great rest of your conference. Thank you so much.